Hey friends, welcome to my channel. Today I have 5 DIY projects using Dollar Tree supplies. I cannot wait to share all the steps. But first, don't forget today is the DIY challenge where there will be many other crafters who are joining along in the fun. I will link the playlist down below in my description box and pin it at the top of my comments. And I want to say a special thank you to everyone joining in today. Alright, now let's get crafting. This DIY is so easy to accomplish. I'm going to be taking this bell that I found at the Dollar Tree. I thought it was just a little too blingy for my style, so I went ahead and removed all the florals and the tinsel-y type things on top, and I also cut off that little hook that would allow me to hang it up. I just snipped that right off. And now I'm going to take some E6000 and some hot glue, and I glued the handle in place so it wouldn't move. Then I took it outside and I spray painted it a really pretty light gray color. And now I'm going to come back in and I'm just going to simply dry brush all over this bell because I wanted to make sure the poinsettias were coming forward and I wanted it to look frosty as if it had been sitting outside on your door. So now I'm going to wrap a ribbon around it, add a bow, and then I'm going to come back in on the top. I added in a little craft stick and I'm gluing it into place so that I can add a finial on top of it. I thought this looked really cute. And I love the wood contrast with the gray paint and the buffalo check ribbon. Then I added some pine cones, as you can see there in the center of my bow, and I drilled a couple of holes in the bell right at the center bottom because I wanted to be able to make sure that it was gripping onto the bell and onto the sign. So now I'm just adding in some extra glue on the sides to help reinforce it so it doesn't wiggle or fall off over time. And then I'm just going to go and hand paint on the number 25 because I thought this would be so beautiful for Christmas time. I am so excited to share with all of you. When I figured out that they had these 2 different glass items that fit into each other perfectly, I knew that I wanted to make a vintage lantern. What you're going to do to get started is you're going to take some black paint, and with the mason jar that has a handle, you're just going to go over it just once. You don't need to go over it more than once because you're going to be doing some distressing to it in just a few minutes. So you're gonna get it all painted black, and then you're gonna take some white and some of that black and mix it together, and you're just gonna keep adding on layers of this gray color. And this is gonna cause it to look more like a metal. And as you keep working with it and brushing it on, you're gonna have a paper towel next to you so that you can keep wiping off the paint if you get too much, and just keep tabbing it on, getting lighter shades and lighter shades as you go. I love this technique and find that this is so therapeutic when I do it. Once you've got that all done and dry, you're going to go ahead and take some E6000. Nobody ever talks about it, but this stuff really smells, so just beware when you're working with it. Add some E6000 around to the base of this vase, and then you're going to put it right into your handle jar. Now keep in mind that some of it will squirt out. If it does, get those trusty popsicle sticks out again and just wipe up the excess. Don't use a paper towel because it'll just get stuck and then you'll have a big mess on your hands. Then you're going to add a ribbon around with a simple one tie, and then take some extra pieces of ribbon with little dovetails on the end and glue them out towards the top and the bottom so it makes it look like it's got a really big, thick, beautiful ribbon on it. Here I am again with that beaded garland. I'm going to go around it once and twist it into place. I love this stuff because you can twirl up the ends on your finger and it just looks so cute. So you could stop here, but I like things to be layered on. So I'm going to take this really pretty pine pick that has some snow on it, and I'm just going to put that in place, and I'm going to help secure it even more with this beaded garland. I'm going to take it and twist it around so that it stays in place without it ever falling off. These kind of items do fall off over time when you hot glue them on, so this is going to really keep it in place. And then I'm going to take some berries from that same pick that I used the evergreen from, and I'm going to sneak that down in behind it and glue it all into place. Now, I don't know why I lost the footage of the bow, but I added the bow to it, as you can see, and I also added a pine cone. Now, after I was all done, I decided that I wanted to make it look a little bit better, so I found the small plate that is also in the same places where they keep the vases and the frames at the Dollar Tree, and I just added that to the bottom with some more E6000. Once it's glued and dried in place, you're going to take some more of that paint and just distress it just like you did the base. The next craft we're going to move on to is a bird's nest, and these are the supplies that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. I just loved these little birds, and I knew right away that I wanted to do like a little winter's bird love nest. I don't know. So I picked up this styrofoam shape. It's such an odd shape, but I started thinking about how it would be the greatest base for a bird's nest. So I took some really thick jute twine that they have at the Dollar Tree. I went around the base twice and then flipped it over and then spiraled it around on the bottom of the bird's nest. Now this is going to create a really nice finished look when you're all done, where it looks like it's a store quality craft. I like trying to make my crafts look as store-bought as possible versus it looks like I did this at home for a fun project. But if you want to skip this step, you can, but one bundle of this twine worked really well for the whole thing, and I did not have to buy a second one. Then once you're done twirling around the bottom, you're going to move towards the top, and you're going to go around one layer at the top and hot glue all of that into place. Now comes the next part, which is the messiest part. You're going to take all of these little tiny fibers that you can pick up from the Dollar Tree, and you are just going to keep putting on hot glue and massaging them into place. The more you squeeze them and interlock your fingers, just kind of twirling it around, it helps it knot up a little bit better. You're going to see me doing it a lot in this stage. And then you're going to just keep hot gluing them down until you get all the way around the whole thing. And then at the very top, I took a whole bunch of it and placed it around in a circle. So then that way, and you can see that I'm massaging it all into place. So then that way when I hot glue it on, it's already in its form and I don't have to worry about trying to lock it into each other. That makes it so that it doesn't come apart, and it just looks better quality like this. And then once you've got a whole bunch of hot glue on there, go ahead and put it on and then massage it into the other pieces that are already there, helping lock it all into place. Now you can see that there's still that part in the middle, so I just put a little bit more hot glue in there, and I took the last of the loose fibers that I had there and I just stuck them down inside. Then go ahead and take your bird. I put my first one down just because I wanted it to be able to be the guide for everything that I stuck in the nest. And just place that little bird. I think this is the girl bird, because the cardinal birds that are girls are actually, they have brown on them. The red birds are actually the boy birds. We learned that when we moved to Missouri. Once you got your bird on, I'm going to take some ribbon down at the bottom. I just thought this looked really pretty and farmhouse-like. So I wrapped a ribbon around it, tied another really cute bow, and then placed that on that seam so you don't see that, and it looks nice and finished. And then you'll be able to move on to your little tree-like forest scene. I don't know what to call it, but you'll see in just a second. Obviously the ribbon is optional, but I just think it looks so pretty when it has a ribbon on it. I'm just a fan of bows, I guess. Okay, so for the next part, here is that tree-like forest thing I was talking about. I'm going to take some pine cones, some leaves that were on this sprig that I got from the Dollar Tree, and then I'm just going to lightly brush them all with white paint and glitter, and that makes it look more frosty, like it's a winter time home decor project, because, you know, this is for Christmas. And then it's really simple to make things look like frost and snow is on them. You just take a little bit of white paint and just tap it on and add some glitter. Once everything has dried, you're ready to assemble it. And this is just really up to your own eye and what you think looks good. I put down my first little sprig of the garland stem, and then I put my bird, and then just kept building from there to complete that whole look. Once you get everything in place, let it dry, and you have yourself a really darling new Christmas bird's nest. I'm going to take these 3 Christmas ornaments that you can get at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to snip off the little string that's at the top of them because we won't be needing that. Once you get those all snipped off, you're then going to take your dowel sticks that you're also going to get from the Dollar Tree, and you are going to insert it into the bottom of the first one. Some of the noses can pop off on these, so make sure you secure a little bit of hot glue on them just to make sure they don't come off in the future. And then you're going to take your scissors and you're going to snip off a little bit of that dowel stick just so that it doesn't have to go so far down into the next snowman. Once you got those in place, you're going to take some hot glue and make sure that the rod does not slide out anymore. It'll just stay nice and snug in place. For the very last snowman, you're actually going to cut off the bottom of his butt. That way so he sits flat on our little surface that we're going to create in a few minutes. Once you have that cut off and you know that it's nice and flat, you're going to take another stick, and this one is going to go into the top of that snowman's head and then up into the bum of the other 2 snowmen, and then you're going to hot glue them into place. This seriously takes seconds to do. It's super fast, and I just think that this is turning out so cute already. Very whimsical and cute for Christmas. Then you're going to take a piece of foam core board, and I cut a 4 by 4 inch square. Take your X-Acto knife and cut out a small hole in the bottom of that stand, and the reason why you're going to do this, it's going to help that dowel stick stay in there nicely when you hot glue it all into place. Then once you've got all your little snowman on your stand, you're going to take some Mod Podge, and you're going to take these little snowballs. Beware, they go everywhere, but it's just so cute and it was really fun to make. Now I'm going to create a little box around. Instead of having a sand box, it's going to be a snow box. Get it? Cut off the ends of the popsicle sticks that you don't need, add some hot glue, and then put them around all 4 sides of your little square base. This is going to help all of those snowballs stay in, and you're not going to have any issues with them coming off in the future. I've said it before, but I really like creating DIYs that have really great quality to them because, you know, it just makes it look more store-bought. So after I've gone around all 4 sides, I like to take a little extra hot glue, and I'm going to put them in the crevices of all of those corners inside the box. That way so they're really secure. Now this is the fun part. You are going to just take some more hot glue and just keep filling it all inside of that box, building up those snowballs. The hot glue is going to hold them in place for long term, and then you just keep dumping it back onto the plate, repeating it over and over again. To give it a nice finished look, I'm going to take this glitter ribbon also from the Dollar Tree. All of these supplies came from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to put it right there around the base of the box. Your supplies you're going to need are 3 large red balls from the Dollar Tree, and then these 3 decor items that you can pick up for $1 each. Now, when I figured out that I could cut these ornaments, I knew right away that I wanted to turn this into a parachute so that I can have these 3 little items of Santa, the reindeer, and the penguin to be parachuting down from my ceilings. So it's really simple. Just take a pair of scissors and you're going to poke a hole into it, and then you're going to cut around in a circle. You want to keep the part that has the actual hanging part at the top, so that way you can use that later to hang up your decor. So you're going to take your Sharpie marker and you're now going to create scallops, but you're going to want to find the seam line on the ornament. It should be there really easy to see. And then at that beginning seam line, you're going to create scallops going over to the other side. You're going to do 4 in between each seam line. So you're going to see me do 1, and then 2, 3, and then the last one I go back over to the seam line, 4. And the reason why you're doing that is because you're going to want 4 on one side and 4 on the other side so that you have an even number, and then you're going to do 4 as well on the back side of the ornament. Once you've gotten all the way around with your Sharpie marker and you've created these scallops, you're then going to take your scissors and you're going to snip at the end points where the scallops meet, and you're just going to snip really easily. This plastic is super easy to cut. And then you're going to take your scissors and just work your way slowly and carefully up around that arch. And then you're going to just repeat that going all over the other scallops until they are all cut out and done. I really had a lot of fun doing this, and I think even kids could do this if you want to do a DIY with your grandchildren or even your children at home. I just think that these are so cool, and to be able to hang up in a children's room for holiday decor if you like to decorate their room or just put something a little special in their room. Once you've got it all cut out, it still looks a little too plain, so I decided to take some white paint, and then you're just going to go around the ornament. And this is the reason why you needed 8 scallops, because when you're done, you're going to have 4 white, and we're just going to say triangles. You're going to have 4 white scalloped triangles and then 4 red scalloped triangles. So when you're going around, just take your time, don't rush it. And I found that I wanted 2 coats of white paint. You could even do 3 if you really wanted it to be like a solid crisp white. There's something about this red spray paint on these balls that they do kind of peek through, so I do recommend doing 2 to 3 coats of white paint. Then once it's all dried and you like the way that it looks, you could leave it like this, or you can make it a little fancier. I'm going to take some glitter and decorate this and make it a little more special. But first, let's not forget the bottom side. So you're going to take some of the red paint that you have on hand, and then you're just going to quickly paint the inside of it. Now I liked 2 coats of red paint because I just felt like it covered it better. I'm always a fan of having a nice painting job so that it looks like a quality decoration versus something we DIY'd. So let that dry on the bottom, and then with some Mod Podge, you're going to take a really thick amount of it and go over only the white part of the parachute. Once you've got that on, you're going to then take some glitter and just sprinkle it all over, really covering it well, and then do the other 4 sides. And this is what it looks like when it's all done. Put it to the side to really let it dry, and while it is, go over and pick up your 3 little figurines, and you are just going to twist until the bottom part snaps right off. This comes off really easy. Next, you're going to take some rope from the Dollar Tree, and I've talked about this before in my other DIY videos, but I love this rope because you can use it at this thickness, or once you've got 3 cut, you're going to need 3 of these. Once you've got them cut, you can take them and untwist them so that they're not so thick, but it's still a nice thick piece of twine. And I just think that this is the coolest way to be able to use this rope. Now what you're going to do is you are going to take 2 of those ropes, and you are going to take your little figurine, and right where their hands are, because all of their hands are facing up as if they already want to be parachuting down, you're going to hot glue on both arms your twine. Now make sure you make the twine all the same length so that when you hang it up, Santa is not kind of leaning crooked on the parachute. And then all you have to do is line the twine up to his armpits and then bring it all the way up. Even if he has a present, it's not going to change the dimensions of how he hangs and moves on the parachute. Then when your parachute top is dry, go ahead and take a cute little green bow. I picked up that ribbon from the Dollar Tree. And then on the flip side, you're going to take some hot glue, and from one corner going all the way over to the other corner, make sure you've got the right direction with your bow. You don't want your bow to end up crooked or sideways. You're going to add a thick line of hot glue and then simply hot glue those ropes right down into place. And then to make sure they're really secure, take some more hot glue and go over them. Now I did put a lot because I really wanted it to be on there strong and not come off over time. And to clean up your project, add some red paint to hide the hot glue. I hope you felt inspired by today's projects here on my channel and that you will give some of these a try. Remember, have fun shopping at the Dollar Tree. They'll have all kinds of goodies this time of year to craft with. Thank you everyone once again for participating who did on the playlist. And I'm going to recommend a couple videos right here at the end. If you enjoyed this one, you might also enjoy these. Thanks so much for stopping by, and until the next episode, bye friends.